This was huge breaking news yesterday. Lee Zeldin, a Republican from New York, someone tried to stab him. And they're saying it was an alleged stabbing. And I'm like, there's a picture of the guy holding, I don't know what it's called, but it's got two blades on it in his hand as he's like going. And then Zeldin's holding his arm back. You watch the video first. The guy didn't run full speed and jump up. He casually gets up, walks up to him and goes like this, and then gets his arm grabbed. Almost like he didn't really want to do it, but I'm not going to say that. He went for it and got taken, pulled down, thrown down. This dude got released immediately.
Mm-hmm. Which Lee Zeldin predicted that night.
But we're talking about a man who attempted to assassinate, at minimum, attempted to stab in the neck a Republican running for governor, and they just cut him loose right away.
How is it? I thought that only happens in the UK.
That's New York state law. It's interesting because Lee Zeldin, one of his major platforms running, he's challenging Kathy Hochul, is that the crime laws in New York are terrible and that they don't keep people safe who need to be kept safe. So it's just irony of irony that he was like, I can tell you, he said this at 1:30 in the morning, like under New York state law, this man will be released. And he was completely right because he knows the law.
They charged him with attempted second-degree assault. You jump on stage to a sitting member of Congress, when a sitting member of Congress is there with a blade in your hand and go for his neck, and that's it?
I've heard some arguments that he was actually reaching for the microphone and that the blade.
With a knife.
Because the governor, Zeldin, said that he said "you're done" to him before he came at him. Maybe he was going to try and grab the microphone.
Well, why does he have a weapon in his hand?
See, if you're approaching a guy with a weapon,
it doesn't make any sense.
Attempted murder.
I've heard other people say, well, those are like self-defense keychains. They're not that serious. But it's like, why would we sell them to women for self-defense? That's what they are. If you're attacked at night, they want you to be able to hit your attacker and have more force. I mean, it's a very strange thing to do, and it is even stranger to me that he's just on the street.
Do you have a picture of the blade?
Yep. Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up on Twitter.
This is wild.
I'm not going to provide a defense for a guy who jumped on stage holding a blade and going after a sitting member of Congress.
And telling him he's done, allegedly, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's
who knows what that is? Is that
I don't know what it's called. People probably know what it's called. It's got two spikes on it. You hold it between your fingers.
They're self-defense keychains.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And in the video, you can see his arm go up and around towards the neck. And that's what a lot of people reported, that he took a swing at his neck, at Zeldin's neck, and then they grabbed his arm, and then someone bear hugged him and pinned him down. You jump on stage wielding a weapon saying you're done, and then move your arm around with the blade in it. Like, dude, come on.
Is there a video of the attack? I guess we'll call it an attack.
There are some floating along.
Yeah,
online.
you can't see that much, but you can look it up. It's a little far away, but you can see him reach for it. I just think, regardless, this is here's what I think of this guy. I did some digging into his background and his family and stuff, trying to find out what I could about him. I don't know a whole lot, and this is based on some of his family, but it seems like they're default Democrat types, like naive, ignorant, not really paying attention. My personal assumption is that this guy is probably a dude who watches MSNBC and CNN. Here's the rhetoric. Here's what Hochul says about Zeldin being a big lie, Trump, insurrectionist type. And so he's like, I better do something about this. It's like, so he goes out there thinking he's going to stop this guy. Radicalization. This is what I wrote about in the Newsweek article about January 6th. The reason Raskin included me out of context in his video is to drive escalation. So already we have had people who work for me and people I know say they saw, like, the reason that the Newsweek article came to be is because I got hit up by Newsweek and they said the moment we saw you in that clip, we knew it was like something's not right here. And they're like, do you want to write about this? And there were a bunch of people who hit me up and said, like, my family saw that and they were like, whoa, that's the guy you watch. And they had to explain to them that it was fake, that they're lying about this. But it's radicalizing people.
Well, this is the point I made earlier. If you remember when we started with Bannon, it's like, this worries me because your country is being radicalized against itself. And the two sides are being encouraged to see each other as enemies. You talk about it in warlike terms. It's a war. We have to destroy them. And this is what you end up with, people going on stage trying to stab politicians.
Although I tell you, there are people on the right who are certainly saying stuff about like the Tree of Liberty and things like that. The people on the left are... You have the establishment left, which is the Democratic. They're the ones calling for conflict. They're the ones saying, like, arrest them, shut them down, take away their votes. And then you have the leftists, the socialists, they've always wanted a revolution anyway. So they're like, bring it on. Then you have the more fringe elements of the right side that are saying Tree of Liberty and crazy stuff like that. But then when you look at the prominent right and middle, which is unified, it's totally opposed to all the conflict and violence. So I think the main issue is, what do we talk about when we talk about the Civil War or whatever? It's usually like a national divorce. Can it be peaceful? And how do we prepare for it to protect ourselves against attacks, not to attack? You look at the left and they're talking about how to go and arrest people and shut them. And they're mocking Bannon. They're wielding the power of the federal government against the previous administration. They are wielding law enforcement power to destroy their enemies.
My worry is, though, Tim, is if you think about this story, right? If that politician who's Republican, right, if he gets stabbed, that will radicalize people on the right as well. And this is the process.
You're right.
If you go from one to another, and before you know it, everyone wants to kill each other.
But maybe radicalize isn't the right word. We literally just saw someone try to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh. These leftist groups broke the law, and the AG did nothing about it. And everybody asked him, like, hey, this was illegal. And he's like, don't care. Then I said this, if you do not uphold the law when it comes to protesting at this home, they will escalate.
Of course.
And the next step was the guy showed up with the crowbar and the rope and the taser or whatever he had, pepper spray.
It really is like a fire. If you don't put it out, it just keeps growing.
Well, if you don't enforce the law equally for both sides, you have no law.
Right. But here's what I'm going to say.
that.
It's not radicalization when we just had 2 assassination attempts in the span of like a month or so. For someone on the right to be like, I better bring a gun with me, is not a radicalization. It's not them saying they want to kill someone. It's them saying, I don't want to be killed.
I watched the video. I don't think he was trying to kill him. He walked up to him and then he started talking to him and actually backed away like a half a foot and then started to grab at him. So it wasn't assault, but he would have walked up
with a blade in his hand.
Yeah, he like walked up and started talking to him.
But why does he need to go armed? And the other thing, to Tim's point, is that
you see his arm go around for the neck.
They struggled, yeah.
He lifted
he would
his
have killed
arm up
if
with
he
the
wanted
blade.
to kill him. He would have walked up and killed him really fast.
That's not true.
You don't walk
In
up and
fact,
start talking to someone if you want to.
You are wrong.
kill
In
him.
fact, the most effective way to do it is to do it slowly.
Not on stage and
Running at
security.
someone immediately gets you tackled.
Oh yeah, his approach for sure. But once he
Calmly
got up to him, he just stood there and started talking to him. And then they struggled.
I'm not going to say I know what he was thinking, but he had a blade in his hand and he motioned for his neck. And people often make these mistakes because they base their views on movies. In a movie, you see the guy jump up and, I'm going to get you. When you look in real life, assassinations could be very, very simple. And I'll tell you about, you ever see those theater events where they have the ninja? And, or actually, here's a better example. I'll start this way. You ever see those comedy routines where there's a black background on a stage, and then the guy will get fake slashed, and then his body splits because it's actually 2 people wearing, a white pants and a white shirt, but then they're wearing all black. The idea of why ninja wear all black was because they would do plays, and to make the ninja not be able to be seen on stage, he would wear all black against a black backdrop. Then when they popped out and did something, you go, oh, it was a ninja. In reality, ninja would dress like a farmer. If you want to infiltrate to assassinate someone, you have to blend in, not wear all black. And they would do other tricks too. And they would calmly approach, not psychotically run up full speed and scream, ah! They'd walk up very calmly and smile and wave.
So what you're saying is this guy's a ninja.
What I'm saying is that right there, you cannot determine whether it was an assassination attempt because he walked slowly or not.
It's true.
In fact, I think walking slowly is more.
Yeah, but Ian, if a guy like walks up to you with that thing on his hand in the street, you'd be worried, right?
For sure. If someone approaches me on the street, I'm worried.
But right. but it's
I'm
not
ready
even,
to run. For real.
This is, you're on stage, and when this guy gets up and walks over, he's wearing like a veteran hat. They're thinking like, what's happening? I'll tell you another story, a famous story, or I should say, maybe apocryphal urban legend. A security guard was in a bank. 3 guys walk in with ski masks on and rifles, and they just walk right up to him and say, drop your gun. And he goes, oh, he drops it. And then they rob the bank. And after they asked the security guard, why didn't you do anything? And he was like, I couldn't believe it was actually happening. Like, I don't know. They walked up to me and just took my gun.
You want to play? Want to play this clip?
Zeldin.
We can't.
We can't play an assassination attempt on YouTube.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Zeldin addressed it, and he said, like, I could see this guy coming out of the corner of my eye. Like, I could see he had a hat on that maybe had a veteran's thing. But like, when this is happening, you can't really stop to be like, oh, I'm going to reason with him. Like, you just have to deal with what's going on. And like, grabbed his wrist, things like that. I will also note that the Hochul campaign specifically called out this event in an email saying like it's a MAGA Republican bus tour, that Big Line Lee is like they drew attention to this event.
They radicalized people and then pointed them in this direction.
Yeah, because that's the big, I mean, we are a very divided country, and especially in New York, you see it as Hochul lining up behind a lot of the more liberal policies that New York has carried through the pandemic, and then Zeldin is a vocal Trump supporter. So they are a perfect contrast, and to have this become something that's happening in their state, and then for him to correctly call out that the guy who attacked him is going to be released, like, it doesn't look great. They're not really looking for a mediation between these two sides.
Who got Hochul put there? Like,
She was a lieutenant governor under Cuomo, and then Cuomo resigned. She took over.
So she's running to be elected. She assumed the spot afterwards.
Didn't Cuomo want to run again or something?
I think so.
Yeah,
probably.
he's like, I'm going to come back.
He's never going to leave.
I'm going to run
Yeah,
it into the ground this time.
Yeah, but I think this is the stuff I've been talking about. And it's funny because, I'll say something like, I think we're headed towards a civil war. And 4 years ago, people said that was stupid and that I was a moron. And then I was like, bro, I don't know. I just read The Atlantic, and they were like, we talked to security experts who said the United States is headed for civil war.
We're in a fifth generational world war right now. And we have
war?
Yes.
See, the other day you were arguing with me it wasn't. Now you're saying it's a world war.
I'm very convinced we're in a fifth generational war, meaning it's a cyber war, a war of the mind and the spirit, and it is global. It's corporations in all countries making you think it's from another country. It's 14-year-olds in their parents' bedroom in the middle of wherever they live. And it's everybody is not everybody, but it is a lot of people vying for power digitally in the cyberspace. And they would love to see the United States shoot itself, but
How do you combat
A lot
that?
of people would.
better
a lot
spirit,
of people would.
better thoughts,
China
ideas, communication skills, better emotions, staying calm.
I don't know if there is a way to solve it. I think it may end up being some kind of natural selection phenomenon where those that have the perspicacity to see what's happening start preparing for the winter, and those that don't will starve in the winter. You know what I mean?
I think it's more of a common threat issue. If you guys felt that if an alien invasion happened, suddenly we'd stop all this bitch fighting, wouldn't we? Right?
No, I don't.
Yeah,
believe so.
I don't think so
of
either.
course
I think
we
we'd
would.
give
No,
some people to the aliens.
We had a pandemic,
Yeah.
and that did not stop. It
You think, like-
It did in the UK. It did
hyper-tribalized.
for about 3 weeks, and then when we went back to the culture war. But it did. I think a genuine.
If aliens
external
came,
threat.
you'd have the left being like, we need to accept diversity, and the right being like, they're literally invading, and they'd be like, you don't know that. They're bringing us technology. And
What if the aliens are transphobic? Maybe not.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.